What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Breaking Point podcast. It's been a while since I've recorded an episode. I've had a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sorry and I apologize for taking so long to upload a new episode. This episode is definitely one I'd say you don't want to miss. This episode is pretty much going to summarize the title of the podcast name, Breaking Point, because I am literally at my breaking point, and I believe so many other Americans are as well at their breaking point. They're ready to initiate action, I guess you could say. There's just been so much that's happened within a short time, as everyone's known and seen. If you have Facebook or any type of social media, or even have friends that have social media, you hear people talking about the year 2020, how it's been the worst year ever. Or 2020, we're in July now, going on August. What's the next level of Jumanji? Because that's just what 2020 seemed to be like. So in this episode, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about everything that's happened leading up to this point that we are in March. I believe it's not March. It's not March. It's July. March was kind of the start of COVID, but we're going to be talking about everything that led up to the point of where we are now. I believe it is, let's see, what's the date? Yeah, July 21st. So July. So we're pretty much halfway through the month, a little over halfway. And so yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today on this episode of The Breaking Point. So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Breaking Point. As I said before, this episode we're going to be talking about pretty much everything that has happened leading up to this point where we're at on July 21st of 2020. And this episode, I believe I say this on most episodes, but this episode, I'm definitely not holding back because I'm so sick and tired of seeing everything I'm seeing. And there's so many people that are so blind and ignorant and, in my opinion, stupid. I know that's not the most Christian and the best Christian part of me, I guess you could say. There's a lot of things I have to work on as a human. I know I'm not perfect. But, I mean, literally, seriously, people are freaking stupid. They're sheep and they're buying in to everything the government is telling them. And it's going to be too late when they get put in rail cars being led into a gas chamber. So that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. Everything that has happened up until this point of 2020. I mean, and even a lot of this goes back even farther. Like, the government is not stupid. And this is going to sound contradicting of myself. I'm into conspiracies. I really am. I believe conspiracies start with a lot of stuff that happens, and they kind of just ball it into one story and kind of make a conspiracy of it. To me, it's interesting. Not necessarily I don't believe everything I hear, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on that's like, hey, there's not that many coincidences. But a lot of stuff in our government, our government, technically is we the people, but I believe our government as a whole, like the Congress, Senate, President, the government as a whole, federal, state, then you got your county and city level. I believe they become too powerful. And I believe a lot of people are seeing that right now in this moment with the whole Black Lives Matter, the COVID, the cashless and coin shortage thing that we got going on right now. Which all that we're going to be talking about. We're going to go in depth. Based on my opinions, not really in depth based on everything as a whole, but just based off what I've seen and how I interpret that. And I believe a lot of other Americans are interpreting it that way. So, yeah, there's been so much that's happened. And what I was saying before, I kind of keep getting off track. All this has been leading up to this point. I mean, years and years and years ago, we've slowly progressed to this point. There's the thing of, socialism, communism, and there's Marxism.
And I believe that that is the way we are headed as a country. You know, I mean, we're actually, no. We're pretty much already at, I'd say, at some sort of level, communism, socialism. Just by the way people are reacting to what the government is saying we have to do, based on COVID-19. And, you know, I get COVID-19, yes, it's a real virus. I've never once doubted that. It is a real virus. But we've had Zika virus, we've had the swine flu, we have the flu, we've had, what else have we had? Ebola, we've had SARS, we've had all these other outbreaks and epidemics, so to speak. When have we ever shut down our country? When have we ever mandated the people of our country have to wear masks? When have we ever shut down restaurants, bars? When have we shut down small businesses? When have we not allowed political rallies? But yet we can allow riots and protests and looting. We can allow all that, and the government steps back. When can we mandate masks? If the mask works so well, why were we letting people out of prison and jail? Why not just give them a mask? So there's been a whole bunch of stuff that's happened really in the United States recently that has opened a lot of people's eyes, which this is all stuff I've been saying for about a year now. And I'm going to be honest, I've had a lot of people comment on my stuff and say I'm anti-government and, you know, I'm tyrannical, and there's a lot of stuff. And if it comes to happen, I'll have to deal with my consequences, but I'm going to be open with y'all. I did join an organization, I'd say about a year ago, the 3%ers organization, the originals, 3%er originals. Don't get it mixed up with any other 3%er groups, militias, anything like that. The 3%ers original is not a militia. They're an organization. So pretty much a dumbed down version of the 3%ers and what they stand for, and what the word 3%ers means is back in the Revolutionary War when we were becoming a country and we had to fight off the people we ran from and fled from. They estimate only 3% of the people took up arms and fought. And so they're saying if anything like that ever happened again, you know, or just anything, if there happened to be a war of that sort, most likely 3% of the people would pick up arms and fight for their freedom, which I agree with. We have God-given rights. Even if you threw the Constitution away, God has given us rights. You know, God created us all equal. I believe we have the right to live. I believe we have the right to make something of ourselves, and I believe that's what God has destined and promised us, is a life of prosperity. But us as individuals also have choices, and those choices kind of reflect on the life we have as we grow older. You know, if you make your bed, you have to lay in it, sort of thing. So I joined that group about a year ago because I seen stuff happening in this country, and I wanted a group of brothers and sisters of patriots that I could count on and trust and lean on. Now, with that being said, I have slacked off. I haven't been to any meetings lately. I haven't, you know, and it's not a white supremacy group. It's nothing like that. I mean, we have people from all walks of faith, all races, all religions. And honestly, when I was going, it was, I don't know, it's, you hear other people's views, you hear other people's perception on life, and you take everything with a grain of salt, but I mean, it really opens your eyes. You have all these people of all different walks of life coming together to preserve one thing, and that's the Constitution and the freedoms that we have as Americans. So I've been saying a lot of this for about a year now, a little over a year, but mainly in the last year, I've really gotten political and really started focusing and researching on a lot of stuff that's been happening in our country. Never expected the whole COVID thing. Never expected the George Floyd thing. Never expected the things to happen the way that it has. But I definitely seen what is happening coming. I seen it coming, and I see a lot worse coming. I really do. I really do, because I see all these people just pretty much figurative speech bowing to the government and to what the government is saying. So with that being said, let's start at the beginning. We had January, February. Things were going pretty smooth. Still a lot of hate for Trump. 2020 kicked off. So that was Trump's new campaign, Trump 2020, Keep America Great. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Trump. I believe Trump has done a good job. There's a lot of people that disagree with me, and that's fine. That's your right. All I can say is if you disagree with me, you better be in the polls November. And vote for Biden if you want. Vote for Biden. Vote for a senile man. I can't even say old because Trump's old, but vote for a senile man. They can't even finish the sentence, and I'm not trying to rag on him, not trying to throw dirt on him, but I mean, he can't even finish the sentence. He's been in politics how long? If he really wanted to fix things would have been fixed by now. I mean, I know he's not the only one in government. There's other people, that voted on stuff with him and stuff. Biden does not have the answers. Honestly, Trump doesn't even have all the answers. I believe Trump has done a good job. I believe most of the stuff Trump said he was going to do, he has done. There's a lot of things with Trump I disagree with. But with my views and the way I perceive things, Trump is the one that more, I would say, aligns with more closely. Or closer. However you want to word that. I don't know. I'm from Polk County, all right? I didn't get a good education, all right? Anyway. So yeah, we had that kickoff. About, I'd say, end of February, beginning of March, there was this whole, I'd say, pandemic freaking out because of COVID-19, coronavirus. It was some new virus. Well, I mean, it's been a virus for a while, but COVID-19 is new. It's new to us. The conspiracy theorists came out and said, China released it on us to hurt Trump. There's a whole bunch of stories out there. The moral of the story is the virus made it to America. It did. And it's a real virus. I said this before. It is a real virus. I've never once doubted that. I believe it is deadly. It can kill. It has killed people. The numbers that we're reporting now? No. I don't believe it's killed that many people. The people that's reporting that it's infected? No, I don't believe that either. The numbers are being falsified. That's pretty much been a proven fact. You can look that up anywhere. In my state, Florida, the FDA is actually investigating the numbers right now because we've had such a high spike, and I believe 98% of the people getting tested were coming up positive. So there's a little bit of getting a little fishy. So, and I will be the first to say, my full-time job, I'm a diesel mechanic. I'm not going to tell the company I work for, but our customer is one of the largest liquor distributors in the country. And their warehouse, I deal with, well, at the time, since about a week ago, I dealt with, I'd say about 100 drivers every morning. 100 truck drivers every morning that left the warehouse that I was working at. And those 100 drivers probably dealt with, I'd say, 10 to 50 people a day. I never wore a mask. I still don't wear a mask. I haven't caught corona. None of my family members have caught corona. I have 2 kids. A lot of people think that I am not cautious enough because of my kids. Oh, you're going to give it to your kids, or you're going to give it to your parents. Look, my parents don't even wear masks. My kids don't wear masks. I was actually almost kicked out of Walmart the other day. Actually, a few weeks ago, because I wasn't wearing a mask. Because in my city of Lakeland, Florida, it was mandated that in city limits you have a mask on. I have health conditions. I can't. That's one of the exceptions. I have health conditions. One of the ladies at Walmart kind of got sarcastic with me and called her manager over. Kind of a little talk, but hey, it's all good. I still didn't wear a mask. Had to get what I had to get, and I got out. It's been about 2 weeks, maybe a week, 2 weeks since then. Still don't have corona. If everyone else is wearing a mask, why should I? If your mask works, why should I wear one? And piece of fabric, piece of, a dental hygienist mask. It's not stopping. It's not preventing anything. If people want to throw up science and facts with it, then you can pull up the video from Bill Nye the Science Guy using the mask that I've been giving from certain people to wear. Just the blue and white mask that everyone has. Bill Nye the Science Guy did a video on it. He had an N95 and he had a lit candle. He blew on it. Flame didn't even move. He put on the mask that most people have, the blue and white, just a normal generic cheapo mask. Blew on a candle, candle went out, or flame moved, something like that. It doesn't do anything. It might prevent you from touching your face. It might prevent you from certain things, but it's not preventing corona. And I guarantee you the people that wear masks are wearing the same mask over and over and over again. So, you're kind of defeating the point and defeating the purpose. But my thing is, March came around, this whole talk of coronavirus, our economy tanked. If anyone was investing in stocks or had a 401k or an IRA, you felt it. You literally felt it. A guy I know at work, I was going to tell you his title, but I'm not going to because he might listen to this. Got a lot of supportive people at my work. But anyway, a guy at my work, he logged on. He's like, I don't even want to look at my 401k. He logged in, looked at it. He had lost so much money. Been there 20 plus years with the company. And, it's shutting down our economy is crazy. I can understand maybe if the virus was causing zombies. Yeah, we don't want that. Because now we're going to have people eating people walking around. But when you have a virus that's flu-like symptoms, that has a mortality rate less than the flu, what are we doing? What are we doing shutting down the economy? So many small businesses, people that's worked, families that have worked, families, not just people, families. They have worked generations and generations and generations. You're talking about great grandkids that have given blood, sweat, and tears, made it through the Great Depression, blood, sweat, and tears to start a business and to hand that business down from line to line to line. Still a small family-owned, operated business. So many years invested into this company. To see them shut down. When they maybe have 2, 3, maybe 2 to 10 customers in their store or dealing with their operation at a time. Shut them down. Let's shut them down. But yeah, you can have big corporations like Walmart, Target, Winn-Dixie, Kroger's, any of those big name grocery stores. We can remain open and let's cram 100 to 300 people in that store at a time. How is that preventing a virus? They're not shutting down. If anything, I'd say they're getting tax breaks. Or they're getting money handed to by the government. To help them with all their laminated stickers that are on the floor telling you which way to walk down the aisle. I'm sure y'all noticed that in the grocery store. There's literally stickers on the floor telling you which way to walk down the aisle. I'm no rocket scientist, but from just having common sense, I believe a virus doesn't only flow from south to north or north to south or east to west or west to east. If you're in a building with AC that's recirculating, I'm pretty sure no matter which way you're walking down the aisle, that virus is spreading. It doesn't matter if you're walking down this way or that way. If you got the virus and you're walking down the aisle, there's a chance someone's going to catch it from you, regardless of which way you're walking. No, a virus doesn't have directional, GPS pinpoints to go to point A to point B. A virus is airborne. So if it's airborne, it's floating over shelves. It's floating down aisles, slide down the aisles, contacting boxes of cereal. So, I'm no rocket scientist. I might sound dumb right now. I really don't care. This is just my opinion and the way I perceive things. And to me, it seems like common sense. It don't make sense to me. When back in March, when everything started shutting down, everyone was wearing gloves and masks. And you seen gloves and masks all over the parking lot. Things started opening back up. Okay. You don't even see people with gloves anymore. But yeah, apparently, Florida, my state, where I've seen all the gloves, has one of the largest spikes and the most cases going on right now. Where are all the gloves? Toilet paper's back on the shelves. The grocery stores are finally caught back up. Maybe that was just a pandemic in its own. It's hoarding. Let's start hoarding all the toilet paper. But this whole coronavirus thing, I believe, is... I know it was man-made. It was man-made. It was released on purpose. It just so happens it had to be the year Trump's reelected. I don't think any of this was coincidence at all. I really don't. There was... forget how many people. I know there's an American and a couple Chinese arrested that worked at Harvard that were working pretty much under the table for China. And I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe it's for Wuhan Tech or whatever school it was where the epicenter of this coronavirus started. Yeah, I believe China was paying people to create this virus to release it. And I also don't think it's coincidence that Hong Kong at the time had one of the most, I'd say the biggest protest for people fighting for their freedom. These people were truly fighting for their freedom. These people protesting the government in Hong Kong because they were about to go under mainland China's law were holding up American flags. They were singing our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. They were singing that. They were reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. They were holding off, or I don't know, holding off, but they were going against pretty much China's regime. They were fighting for freedom. All of a sudden, this virus broke out. Everyone went indoors. Everyone stayed locked up. I also don't think that's coincidence. And I wish the people here in America right now, because there's so many people. I have people in my family, which I'm going to post this, and it's probably going to piss off a lot of people in my family. But honestly, at this point, I don't care because I'm not here to appease people and please people. I'm here to tell you what I'm seeing. And the same people that I'm probably going to piss off are probably the same people that's told me growing up that history repeats itself. And they've tried teaching me these long life, hard lessons about life. And this is where we're at right now. But some people are so blinded and so ignorant to believe that there's this whole conspiracy about a one world government or a cashless society. But I'm telling you, it will happen if people don't start standing up and fighting for the rights that they have right now. Because if you don't fight for them right now, they will be gone. People have been fighting to take away our guns since the start of the Constitution. People have been trying to take away your freedom of speech. People are trying to change the way you are educated and change the whole education system because uneducated people cannot fight back. People without guns cannot fight back. The government wants full control. And I'm not necessarily saying the United States government. There might be certain people in it. It might be as a whole. There might be a secret group in with the UN, China, Russia, all these other countries to form one nation. The one world government. And that's not a conspiracy theory. That has been a talk for a long, long time. Look up George H.W. Bush and the one world government. Look up a whole bunch of these other presidents. And just type in one world government behind them. And you will find quotes. You will find videos. You'll find all kinds of stuff talking about it. It's not a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory would be saying that that's what's going to happen in the near future because of Corona, Black Lives Matter, a cashless society, the whole child sex trafficking thing that's kind of being uncovered right now, which I've known that crap's been going on. There's sick and evil people in this world. That's been going on forever. The sex slave trades have been going on for years and years and years. Hundreds of years, thousands of years. But enough with Corona. Corona sheltered people. It shut down the economy. It freaked people out because they didn't know. People lost their job. They had to go on unemployment, which took forever to get on. Which is the government just handing out more money. Well, the federal side of it. I understand companies pay a certain amount of unemployment, but so you had all this. You had people being locked up. You got people with anxiety, depression, all this stuff. You have people missing doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, chiropractic appointments because of this whole Corona thing. People are freaking out. Their anxiety levels they're going skyrocketing. What's the next thing? As people are weak and feel defenseless, what's the next thing you can do? Let's start a race war. Let a black man be killed and let's restart Black Lives Matter. Which pretty much the whole organization started when Barack Obama was in office. Which was y'all's black president, for y'all that voted for him, wanting a black president, which is cool and fine and dandy. If y'all want a black president, I'm all for that. There's no racist bone in my body. Black, Indian, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. I don't care. As long as they represent the Constitution of the United States and what America stands for, that's fine with me. And Barack Obama did not do that one bit. At all. Y'all wanted him because he was black. And he could speak really well. He did. He spoke well. So, if y'all really cared about black lives and y'all voted for a black president and, he said, Black Lives Matter, he would have done something about it, but he didn't. So, anyway. You had George Floyd murdered. Which he was murdered, regardless if it's set up, not set up, whatever. He was murdered. And I believe all of America, I'd say at least 99.9% of America agreed. And we were all fighting for justice for George Floyd. Until the rioting, the looting started happening. Minneapolis, you're a disgrace to America. And I'm going to say that right now, and I'm saying that unapologetically. I will not apologize for saying that. You're a disgrace to America. You do not represent what America stands for. You had so many small businesses robbed, big corporations robbed, which, who cares? They're insured. Yeah, well, who cares if your car gets vandalized because your car's insured? Or is it? So, now you start this whole race war. Riots break out all across the country. All across the country. But I'll tell you one thing, and this is a proven fact check me if you want. The worst riots and the most vandalism in the country all happen in Democratic-ran states, Democratic-ran cities. And I'll tell you that right now. Polk County is probably one of the most redneck. I would say, even though Florida is more of a tourist state than I would say a southern state, Polk County, Florida, I would say has the majority of actual rednecks. Polk County has the best sheriff in the United States. And if you're an American citizen, I'm sure you've heard of Grady Judd, which is Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. He is the sheriff of Polk County. And he is unapologetic, and he will tell it how it is while sticking to the law. And that man will not put up with nothing. There was talk about Antifa and these riots and protests and stuff coming into the suburbs and into the white neighborhoods. Grady Judd stood up on the news, in front of the podium, and said, if you value your life, you better not do that. People of Polk County have guns. I encourage them to have guns. And their guns are loaded tonight. And if you break in their house, I encourage them to blow you out of their house. And this is the same sheriff that said back, I'd say about 14, 15 years ago, there was 2 deputies shot and a canine shot. 1 deputy and a canine died. It was about, I'd say, a 20-something hour manhunt for this guy. They found him. He was hiding under a fallen tree, some brush, whatever, in the woods. They found him. Shot him 68 times. One of the news reporters asked Grady Judd, why'd you shoot him 68 times? He replied, we ran out of bullets. Another reporter asked, well, the coroner reported that he died of natural causes. Our sheriff, Grady Judd, replied with, yeah, you naturally die when you're shot 68 times. This man don't play. Lakeland, my city, started a little riot. LPD was doing the best they could, and they did a dang good job. But they called in Grady's hounds. And let me tell you, when Grady came in, they spread. Because they knew. There ain't no playing around with Grady. Very conservative man. These Democratic-ran cities and these Democratic-ran states, they're being little babies when it comes to these protesters and these rioters. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for fighting for what you want to fight for and what you believe in. But there's a way to do it. And the First Amendment clearly states it peacefully. So when you come busting out windows in cars, they're just trying to go to their work, take their kids to the doctor, go home. That's not peaceful. When you're stealing stuff out of stores that people worked hard for, it's not peaceful. I believe you deserve to be shot. If law enforcement ain't there, I believe people have the right to protect what they own. That's part of the Second Amendment. You come around my house looting, stealing, breaking stuff, you're getting shot. And I say that unapologetically. That's what we need more of in America. And I believe if more people stood up and helped the police that didn't want to back down, I believe we would have had a different outcome when it comes to these riots and protesters. The violent protesters at that. I'm not saying there shouldn't be lawlessness when it comes to counter-protesting. There shouldn't. Violence should always be the last resort, and that's only if your life's in danger. But I feel like this whole thing was to create this race war and to create this uprising in Black Lives Matter, which, by the way, the organization is a piece of crap. They do nothing for the black community. For the people saying that when I say all lives matter is discrediting the Black Lives Matter, that's a bunch of bullcrap. And when you want to throw the Bible verse up saying that Jesus will leave the 99 to follow the one, yeah, that is in the Bible, but that's not at all close to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you want to use Jesus and say Jesus left the 99 to be with the one, then you need to use the God that Jesus had in him to say that all men were created equal. And God created us in his image. So therefore, being all human life, let me say that again. First word, all human life matters. Because see, y'all are talking about an issue that y'all see in the United States that happened in hundreds of years ago with slavery. Y'all still want to talk about the past. You're never going to get to the future if you keep putting yourself in the past. Y'all talking about reparations and getting money. You ain't getting no dang money because you haven't been a slave and you don't know one that's been a slave owner. If you're so oppressed here, move to another dang country. And I'm sorry to sound racist. I'm not racist. I love each and every one of you. But it's bullcrap. If you want to talk about reparations because your great-great-great-great-great-grandmammy was a slave, then maybe I should do some research on my family and get reparations for my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmammy that had slaves run away and they lost money. Which I don't even know if my family had slaves. I'm just saying. You're not a slave now. You're not oppressed by a slave owner now. So why should America give you reparations? The black community have scholarships that I can't get because of my skin color. The black community has their own TV station. Even though white people watch it, you have Black Entertainment Television, BET. Blacks these days have more opportunities than any other black generation. So many other opportunities. There's no segregation right now, besides the fact that y'all have your own scholarships, which I'm not even mad about. It's whatever. But it's the fact that y'all want to keep talking about being oppressed because of slavery and everything else. Y'all want to talk about the Confederate flag and how it's so offensive because it represents racism. I mean, you got people like Jesse Smollett and Bubba Wallace faking hate crimes. I mean, it's all about demonizing the white man. And that's all it is. And I'll tell you what, my favorite teacher, my favorite teacher, the one that supported me the most, he was the biggest mentor to me in high school, even came to my house for my graduation party, was a black man. Biggest influence in me in my high school days was a black man. And I'm sure he's posted stuff. He blocked me on Facebook because we disagree on politics now. But anyway, I'm sure he's posted a lot of stuff for Black Lives Matter, and I hope he sees this. Because he knows my heart. He sponsored a Bible club I started at Kathleen High School. And he was a sponsor of it. And I'd give the shirt off my back for this man. This man is highly educated, has a PhD. I mean, he takes kids in that have had a rough life. And he mentors them. Teaches them karate, self-discipline, motivation, respect, morals. I mean, he's a busy man. He gives his blood, sweat, and tears to these kids. He's impacted and changed a lot of kids' lives. I mean, as a teacher, this is what a teacher needs to be. This man gives it his all, and I love him, and I respect him for it. And he knows who he is. If he ever watches this, he'll know that I'm talking about him. But I'm sure he's posted a lot of stuff about Black Lives Matter. And I have to say, I'm sorry. The movement I can somewhat agree with. I believe that black lives do matter, but I also believe that all lives matter. I don't believe we should single out one group. I don't believe you're being oppressed the way you think you are. I'm not saying there aren't bad cops out there that just pull you over because of your skin color. Yeah, there's racism everywhere. There is. There's people racist against me. There's people racist against Asians. There's racism everywhere. If it just so happens that there's more racism against black people, I can see that. I can. And I'm not arguing that one bit. But you're not oppressed the way you say you are. The majority of $1 million sports players, black. The majority of hip-hop, R&B artists that are millionaires, black. You got Darius Rucker, country artist, Hootie and the Blowfish lead singer, black. I know I'm only giving a few examples. I mean, even NASCAR, one of the most known NASCAR drivers to this day, right now, black, Bubba Wallace. Yeah, there's a lot of other rich white people. There's a lot of talk about, oh, well, the black man's not the CEO. Put in the same hard work and dedication. Get the same education that other people are getting to get that job. It's all about work. About work ethic. I'm a white man. I'm not a CEO. I'm a tradesman. I'm a diesel mechanic. I'm laying on my back in grease and oil all day, every day, just to make ends meet. I'm getting a part-time job and doing DoorDash on the side just to make ends meet. It's all about perspective. And if y'all want to talk about Black Lives Matter, please focus on the areas that are biggest in y'all's arguments. Y'all talk about the unjust deaths. Then let's talk about Planned Parenthood and the hundreds of thousands of African American black babies killed every year that don't have a voice. They don't have a chance to march down the road with you and protest Black Lives Matter. Because a woman opened her legs or a man stuck it in without her wanting it and created a baby. And either the man or the woman can't be adult enough to take the responsibility of being a parent. And let me tell you, the whole argument about rape when it comes to abortion is a bunch of bullcrap, because it only equals about 1% of abortions in America. So let's forget about the other 99%. Let's just talk about the 1%. No, screw that. Let's talk about the 99%, because I guarantee you, if a woman was raped and was having a baby and another woman was having a baby that wasn't raped, and you hold up the sonograms, you cannot tell which baby was conceived of rape. So let's talk about that first. But see, y'all don't want to talk about that because I'd say, when was it? The 50s or 60s? The fatherless home in the black community was about 20%. 20% of the black community was without a father. Now, in this day, 2020, the percentage of a black family without a father is at about 70%. 70% of black families are fatherless. So it's not a race issue, it's a culture issue. But I will agree with you and say y'all's culture issue will cause a race issue. Not with me, but there's other people that will cause an issue. Another thing that will cause an issue is the black on black crime. That's something else you don't want to talk about. Is the blacks killing blacks is definitely surpasses the number of blacks killed by white cops. Or let's just say blacks killed by cops in general. I'd say blacks killed by cops in general is still way less than blacks killed by blacks just in the city of Chicago. And that's just me just throwing it out there. I haven't even done the research on that, but I'd guarantee you the black on black crime rate, death rate in Chicago, I guarantee you is more countrywide than cops killing blacks countrywide. I'd be willing to bet that. So we have COVID that stirs everyone up, gets everyone feeling crazy, sheltered, panicking. Now we have this race war. We got people pandering to the race war. I won't do that. If you're black and you come up to me, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to love on you. Same as I would with my white friends, my black friends, my Asian friends, my Hispanic friends. But there's people blind and don't see that. They don't see the strategic play that the government is putting around us. Next thing we have is recently we started seeing the national or the federal coin shortage. There's a coin shortage. Or a lot of stores ain't taking cash for you to pay with stuff. To reduce the spread of COVID, the first topic we went over, which is crazy to me because they don't want to spread COVID, so they're gonna have people swipe a card, which usually you have to sign for, or you have to put in a PIN number if it's a debit card. You're all touching the same keypad. You're not all touching the same cash. So you have that going on. And it's funny because half these keypads have like saran wrap or this like cling wrap over it. And it's like, what is that doing? Because everyone's touching the cling wrap. It's see, people are just so stupid. I honestly don't get it. I don't. Because honestly, the people that wear gloves and they touch everything in the store and then they put it in their mouth, or they touch their phone and then they take their gloves off and they're touching their phone again. If they were a doctor, that would be equivalent to wearing gloves and doing an operation with certain tools. Throwing your gloves away, putting new gloves on to be safe, but using the same tools. It's stupid. It's called cross-contamination. So anyway, sorry if I just offended you for saying that, but if that's what you do, I'm going to tell you right now, you're stupid and ignorant. But yeah, so we have this whole cashless society, this whole conversation about cashless society going on right now. And, you know, people are talking about, oh, they're trying to go to one currency, the one world government, you know, whether they're trying to do that. Personally, I believe that's what we're going to. I've heard this conspiracy a long time ago, back when I was in middle school, about one world government. I don't believe that's a conspiracy. I believe that's true. But I believe the whole us right now going cashless to get to the one world government, I believe it can happen, but I do believe it's conspiracy. I haven't seen enough evidence or proof. I am skeptical, and I am like looking at things a lot more closely. But I'm telling you, we go cashless, that's a whole nother. We're screwed, and I'm sorry to say it. We're screwed. If I don't know if any of y'all know who Dave Ramsey is. He's I don't know if you call him a financial advisor, but he's like a motivational speaker when it comes to finances. I'll say that. He's a Christian. I'd say he's more conservative leaning, but he takes his money principles from the Bible. He's been bankrupt, I'd say, more than once. I know that. I don't know how many. I'm not going to quote how many times he's been bankrupt. He started handling finances a certain way based on biblical principles, and now he's a multimillionaire. No credit, pays everything cash, anything. Anyway, I've seen this post. I don't know how true it is, if he actually said this, but there's this post, and it was pretty interesting to me. It talks about what a cashless society means, and I don't think people think of the future. I believe they think of like the now. So people are like, oh yeah, it's going to stop the spread of corona because we're not all passed around the same paper, tender, cash, all this other stuff. But people don't think of the future. And I don't believe people think of the full and the big picture. They just think of what is best for them at this moment. And that's what people get caught up in. And I believe that screws a lot of other Americans out of the way of life that they're used to. I personally don't use that much cash. I usually never have cash, but I understand there's a lot of older people that still like cash and checks. And it's legal tender. They should have the right to use that. But I want to read this to y'all real quick. This is something that said, someone said Dave Ramsey said this, but it's wrote out. This was a Facebook post I read, and I screenshotted it. I want to read it to you. Whether he said it or not, a lot of this makes sense, and it is true. If we go to a cashless society, it means that if you're struggling with your mortgage or any other bill payment, you can't just do a side job to get the cash to get through. Most people know that if you transfer money or have money put in your account, it usually takes a couple of days, 2 to 5 business days to get into your account. Your kid, if he's saving for a car, or saving for something, your kid can't go around mowing neighbors' yards and getting cash on the spot to buy something. The ice cream truck rolls around. You can't send your kid out there with a handful of quarters or a couple of ones to go buy an ice cream bar. You're not going to be putting cash in birthday cards. There's not going to be any more piggy banks for your child to collect pocket money and learn the value of earning and saving. The whole value of saving is going to be different. It's going to be on an app, which has to be on a phone, which phones cost about $1,000. So now you're going to swipe a card to pay for that $1,000 phone for your kid to have an app to learn how to save money. There's no more rainy day fund with paper cash. There's no more, putting your cash in a mayonnaise jar and burying it in the backyard for, a crap hit the fan moment or just a rainy day, like I said. No more little jobs on the side because your wages barely cover the bills or put food on the table. No more charity collections, for those that go to church. There's probably not going to be any more offering plate that goes around. Everything's going to be done online. And when you do, there's a fee for that. I don't know if y'all know, credit card companies charge 3% for you to swipe that card. So if you're paying tithe over card, your church is getting billed a 3%. They're not getting that full amount that you're paying for your tithe. Yard sales. Just think of yard sales. Yard sales used to be an American pastime. I remember growing up, my grandma having a yard sale all the time. It was a big event. The whole neighborhood had a yard sale. And I would go help her. I'd put little red, green stickers on stuff, and I'd ask her, "Hey, Grandma, how much for this?" And she'd 50 cents. And I'd write 50 cents on it. I remember doing that, spending a whole day pricing stuff. The next morning, we'd cover everything up with a sheet. Wake up the next morning, people would come out to yard sale. I'd have a lemonade stand selling my own lemonade. I got to keep all my money. And I remember when it slowed down, walking down to the neighbor's house, seeing what they had, and I'd take my money from my lemonade stand and buy something at the neighbor's house from their yard sale. I mean, that was helping people out. You're getting rid of stuff you don't need that someone else wants. That's really the only American currency that's circulating for America, if you think about it. I mean, half the vehicles are made overseas or in Mexico. I mean, everything's pretty much made in China. The only way to really circulate American money is through American people. One-on-one. So no more yard sales unless everyone's going to go get a PayPal account with a PayPal credit card scanner that's going to charge them 3%. So, I mean, it's just all that. It's going to be gone. I mean, no more cash gifts from relatives or loved ones. No more selling bits and pieces from your home that you no longer want or need for a bit of cash in return. It's crazy. I mean, this is what we're going to get rid of if we accept the cashless society. But I will tell you, this is part of that post, I will tell you this is what a cashless society guarantees. The banks will have full control over every single penny you own because your money will have to be sent in a bank account. You won't be able to hold on to any of your money. Just think, there's no ATMs. You can't go to the ATM and pull out cash. The bank will literally own all your money. That bank goes under, regardless if they're insured or not, you're going to have a time trying to get a hold of your money. Because if they're insured, yeah, you might still be able to get your money, but it's going to be a while. Every transaction you make is recorded. Now, you might not have a problem with that because if you're using a credit card or debit card now, you're already being recorded. But what about if it's something you don't want the government to know about? It's not really illegal. You just don't want them to know. It's recorded. Access to your money can be blocked at the click of a button. I don't know if you've had that ever happen. If you traveled and you swipe that card and it gets declined, you're like, oh, why did it get declined? You get a text or an email saying, hey, a fraudulent purpose. We've seen your card. You're from Florida or Georgia, whatever state you're from. We've seen your card was swiped in Michigan. Or your card was swiped in California. You're like, well, yeah, duh, I'm on vacation. Doesn't matter. Your card provider or your bank doesn't recognize you purchasing stuff from this state. So they lock your card. So you got to call and unlock it, or you have to text or email them back that yes, that was a charge, and you have to wait a few minutes. The banks or the government's going to have full control over that, and they can shut your card off at any time. And then how are you going to pay for your food? How are you going to provide for your family? Because see, if you can mow your neighbor's yard, say your car got shut off, you can mow your neighbor's yard, get $20 cash, you can run to the store, buy a loaf of bread and some lunch meat and cheese and still feed your family. Might not be a gourmet meal, but you're still providing for your family. But see, if it's only card or electronic banking, government or banks has full control over it. Might be convenience. See, that's the thing. The government is always going to make things seem more convenient or better for you. But you're missing out on the whole point of them being in control. When the government is not supposed to be in control at all. We the people are. The government is here to protect us with the military. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. You'll have no choice but to declare to be taxed on every dollar in your possession. There's a lot of people I know that own their own businesses and they have to file 1099s. There's a lot of tax deductions when it comes to gas, tools, anything they have to use for their business. But you see, if everything's sitting in your bank account, the government can make you pay taxes on all that. There is no under the table. There is no little side job. That side job you can get paid by card, but guess what? You're paying taxes on it now. That's just the government getting more money interest-free from you. But if you want money from them, guess what? You're going to be paying an arm and a leg. You mess up on them taxes, you're going to be paying an arm and a leg. Or you're going to jail. The government will decide what you can and cannot purchase. So guess what? For all y'all Second Amendment lovers out there just like me, you can go to Walmart and swipe your card all day for some Yoplait yogurt and some Breyer's ice cream. But guess what? You get to a gun range to go buy some ammo or a brand new gun, that card declines, you have no reason why. You get an email saying because you are at a restricted merchant, you are no longer allowed to buy firearms. See, they don't have to make it legal, but they can just make it where you can't buy them. That's what happens when you go to a cashless society. And that's only just the gist of it. That's just stuff I've seen on a post. There's tons more that can happen. And that's just what happens when it comes to a cashless society. Or one world currency. Everyone's using the same currency. But, there's all kinds of stuff that... I'm sorry, I'm trying to find something for y'all. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen with a cashless society. And I guarantee you none of it will be good. The only good thing I'd say would come out of it is convenience. Which, it wouldn't be convenient for me because I already use a card now. But I would like to have the option to have cash. Say if the government did become tyrannical. Or tyrannical. However people say it. I call it tyrannical. Anyway. The main thing that I want to talk about that I think, just in my opinion, everything that's happening right now, I believe is to take the focus off of the largest child sex trafficking ring. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I might get emotional during this part because it means a lot to me and it's a big deal. The child sex trafficking. You heard about Jeffrey Epstein, you hear about Harvey Weinstein, you hear about all this, but those are just two people. This is a growing industry. It is a business. Just in America, it is the fastest and largest growing industry in America right now. With $30 billion of revenue every year. And growing at a drastic rate. But I believe all this has happened to cover up child sex trafficking that's going on in America with the elite, celebrities, politicians, all these people. And I'm going to explain why. It's not just a conspiracy. I'm going to explain why. I believe it's to do that and to keep Trump from getting reelected. Because I believe Trump's going to bring these people down. Because Trump, I believe, was one of the elite. I believe he backed out. And he stepped down. Now, if he did anything with kids or he raped anyone, I believe he should be held to the same standard and he should be prosecuted. I do agree with that. But, so let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone knows Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone knows that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. Regardless of what the media says, what the coroners say, Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. And guess what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you this just in case Hillary Clinton hears this podcast. I am not suicidal. And I have no underlying health conditions. Now, if I die and it's from corona, I'm going to tell you that's bullcrap because I went this whole 3 months without catching it and wearing a mask. I didn't die of corona. I'm going to let you know right now. If I die, it's because I got killed. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay? So anyway, you have Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone's heard the story. I don't know if anyone's known the full story. Jeffrey Epstein got arrested in Palm Beach, Florida. Palm Beach County, Florida. Or Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. Somewhere in the Palm Beach area. Not much really happened. I mean, he went to jail, but his jail was only like staying in jail for 8 hours. There's a whole documentary on Netflix. I'm just going to let y'all go watch it. Watch the documentary on Netflix. Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, something like that. Yeah, so you have that. You have this whole adrenochrome thing going around where pretty much people torture kids to get their adrenaline going to the highest level because kids are pure. So they torture these pure kids to this level where their adrenaline is at max capacity. They kill the kids after torturing them. And then they drink their blood to get some sort of high or feeling from it. Which is sick and evil. And it's proven that this has happened. I'm not going to say it's been proven it's happened in the United States. Because I really haven't. I've done research, but I haven't researched on when it's happened, who it's happened with. But I know it's happened because that's the whole reason we know about adrenochrome. So you have that. There's a whole red shoe thing. If you don't know about red shoe thing, just look it up. The point of the story is there is a massive amount of people, celebrities, high profile people, even people that aren't high profile, just your normal Joe Blow that's your next door neighbor, in the child sex trafficking ring. There's a guy, some of y'all might have heard of him, some of y'all might not. If you haven't, I definitely encourage you to go look him up. His name's Yaku Buins. If he sees this, I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. I believe it's Yaku. It's Jaco. Yaku. Booyens. Booyens. He's a legal immigrant to the United States. He came from South Africa, I believe. His sisters were in the sex trafficking world for a little bit. They got sex trafficked. And so that's his whole mission now. He's fighting it. And he says, like, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, they could afford it like every 2 minutes or every 2 hours. I believe is what he said Jeffrey Epstein did was he had sex with with a child every 2 hours. Whereas your neighbor or someone, I guarantee you, someone in your neighborhood, every 2 months is paying for a child to have sex with. So you have people like Jeffrey Epstein that's every 2 hours. You have people that's every 2 months. You might have someone that's every 2 minutes or 2 years. The fact of the matter is these people are sick and cruel, and they deserve to die. And as a Christian, a lot of people get on me for saying that. And there's a guy, Graham Allen. If you're watching my podcast, I guarantee you've heard of Graham Allen. Graham Allen says it best. And I agree with him, whether it's right or wrong. I guess when I die, I'll have to own up to it when I'm at the gates of heaven and have to own up to everything I've done wrong. But he says, God is to save the souls. God's looking for your heart and your soul. And that is true. Your earthly body does not go to heaven. That's not what gets saved. It's your soul. So I believe that on earth there are consequences. There are consequences for things. I believe that if you rape or touch a child in an inappropriate way, really anyone, especially a child, you should be held accountable for that. And I don't believe the taxpayer should sit in a cell to watch TV and eat food every day of your life. I believe you should be given a Bible and given 24 hours or however long, see your family, say your goodbyes, and be done with it. Whether it's by firing squad, hanging at high noon in the center of the city, whatever. And I'm sorry if I sound cruel or unapologetic, but that's just how I feel. I've dealt with this, and I'm still dealing with it. Not to give too many details, because it's a pretty private issue for me, but I want people to understand, because I haven't really made it public. Not even a lot of family knows. My stepdaughters came to me. Well, they came to me and my wife. Said they were sexually assaulted by their father. Which, who cares? I might get something for slander here later on, but I'm telling you what they told me. They accused their father of sexually abusing them. We kept them. Regardless of the parenting plan we had, we kept them from him. We got a restraining order, an injunction on them. Had DCF involved, Department of Children and Families. They came in, did a full investigation report, which we've had DCF involved with the girl's biological father so many times. In my opinion, he's a piece of crap. He's garbage. And he's a sorry excuse to be a father. And I'm sorry that I'm being public with this right now, but I just have to get it off my chest. He is a sorry excuse to be a father. 26 counts of child pornography prior to this. We get told this information. Me, I'm pretty hot-headed. I was ready to flip out, go off on them, do what I had to do to protect my stepkids. I don't see them as stepkids. I see them as my own. I was ready to go off, but I didn't. I kept my cool. I said, you know what? We have a legal system. It's going to get handled. We got these people investigating it. DCF comes back with the report. There was findings of sexual, drug, and physical abuse. The investigators with the Department of Children and Families from the state of Florida found that there was findings of sexual abuse, drug abuse, and physical abuse. In the report, there was stuff and sexual acts that we found out about through the report that we didn't know about because the girl's biological father and his girlfriend did not let us know happened. And we found out through them telling the investigators what happened at their house. So we get to court for the injunction hearing, for the restraining order hearing. And the judge wanted to side with us. he wanted to side with us. I wasn't there, but my wife was. She told me the judge wanted to side with us, and just talking to I talked to the attorney. The attorney was like, man, the judge was like right there. He was wanting to. The DCF report did not state that those findings were findings of the father sexually abusing, or findings of the father physically abusing, or the findings were the father causing drug abuse to his own daughters. So the restraining order got dropped, and the girls legally had to go back, or else we would have been in contempt of court and pretty much would have got charged with kidnapping. This happens so much, and I know in the state of Florida it happens all the time. I'm sure it happens in other states, and if any of y'all are social workers that are listening to this, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I could not do your job. I really could not. Something has to change with the system. We cannot let our kids keep living in abusive situations. And I'm not saying skip this fair and speedy trial. I'm not saying skip the right to an attorney. I'm not saying any of that, but something has to be done to protect these kids. Because as a father, seeing and hearing the pain in a child's voice when you tell them they have to go back to their father, or go back to that person that physically or sexually abused them, and you hear the fear in their voice, and you know there's nothing you can do, or you can do something and risk facing your life in prison. It's the hardest decision in the world. To have faith in a system that's supposed to protect these children, knowing that they haven't so far. But as a Christian, I have faith in my God and my Savior, and I keep praying that nothing else has happened and that He's got His hand over them, and I believe He does. And I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And I don't know. All I know is it happens. You might not think it does, but once it happens to someone that you're close to, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. And it's one of the hardest things anyone will have to deal with. Seeing the pain in a child's eyes. As a mother, as a father, anyone, but especially as a father, for me, in my instance, as a father, you're supposed to be their protector. You provide and protect. And you try to do everything the right way, and it fails. In the state of Florida, I've seen it multiple times. I have family members that work for the school board, and school board employees, if anything's wrong, signs of abuse, malnutrition, anything like that, they have to call DCF. DCF gets called. DCF opens an investigation. They usually close the case, I'd say 99% of the time. And guess what? I've seen so many articles and heard personal stories from people that work for the school board where these kids have been, DCF's been called on these kids' guardians or parents, whoever, multiple times by the school board or any other person in that matter. It doesn't matter who called. It's the fact that people seen that something was up and this kid was living a horrible life, being abused or whatever it may be, malnutrition, whatever. And DCF closes the case, and guess what? Months or years later, the kid ends up dying because of neglect. Those social workers, and this is no offense to social workers, but those social workers, their supervisors or the judges that handled that case should be held responsible. If that case got thrown out and something happened, They should be held responsible. I'm sick and tired of innocent kids being victims and justice not being served. But yet in the state of Florida, if I were to call right now on anyone that lived in my home and said that they hit me, or I won't even say that. Let's just use a normal term. A husband and wife in the state of Florida, if the wife called or the husband called and said that she hit him or he hit her, one or both of y'all are going to jail for domestic violence. It doesn't matter if there's proof or not. You're going to jail, guaranteed. Guaranteed. But I have two girls at a very, very young age, pre-puberty and pre-adolescent age, explain to me in detail what happened between them and their father. Stuff that they shouldn't even know about. Tell me what happened. Call the cops. Nothing can happen. Gotta take it to court. Call DCF. And DCF's report shows that there was findings of it. Did they do a DNA test? No. Did they do any forensics? No. Did they send them to a counselor? No. I was paying almost $300 a week. I'd say closer to $200 because I was paying for counseling for me and my wife because, I mean, it put a strain on us. We had to go through marriage counseling. I'd say with the girls and my wife, I was paying close, I'd say $200 to $250 a week just in counseling. It's all I need to do. But you can have false information given about domestic violence, false information about rapes. People are going to jail. No proof, just word of mouth. But yet, we have these innocent children that are living through torture and abuse and sexual. You see, the issue is people are too silent. People are too naive. People don't want to listen. People don't want to think it happens to them until it does. I had a whole topic to go on with this child sex trafficking that had to do with like the elite and all this, but I lost it based on my own story, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm gonna end it with this. Child sex trafficking is a big deal in America, and you need to open your eyes. If you don't think it is, you're a moron, you're stupid, and you're ignorant, and you need to open your eyes. Because I pray that if you have kids, nothing like this ever happens to you, your nieces, your nephews, or anyone you know. Because it's one of the hardest things you'll go through. It's normal, average Joes that I'd say make up the numbers. But it's the elite and the high-profile people that are the frequent, I guess you could say, frequent flyers. These people need to be exposed. They need to be brought down. And they need to be killed. And I say that unapologetically. And I won't back down from that. I feel like I've always said I'm unapologetic and I'm not going to back down. I'm going to be blunt. But I feel like I held back a little bit because I was afraid of what other people would say. I didn't know if people would report me and think I'm like a domestic terrorist or something, which I'm not. But at the point we're in our world, I really just don't give a crap anymore. I never once threatened anyone on this podcast. I never once incited violence. I just said if people want to harm children and sexually abuse them, they deserve to die. If I kill someone, I'm doing 25 to life. But if someone rapes or molests a child or tortures a child, they can get out within a few years. They should have the same sentence as anyone else for murder. It should be a life sentence. But like I said, taxpayer dollars should not pay for them because of their demonic and cruel and vicious decisions and the actions they took on a child. Our taxpayer dollars should not pay for that. We should end it right there. And I guarantee you, if we were more stricter on our laws and the punishments on our laws, which I respect Grady Judd for. I'm not saying he's called for this, but there's a lot of talk from senators and Congress people and politicians about this nonviolent low-level crime and why they're doing so much time. Because that low-level nonviolent crime leads to other stuff, which is like a high-violent, high-level crimes, stuff like that. Grady Judd's been giving them crap. I'd say every media conference Grady Judd has, he gives it to him. I guarantee you, if we started hanging people in the center of the city, high noon every Saturday, I guarantee you a lot of this crap would stop. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. But people want to talk about being politically correct, all this other stuff. I'm telling you. There's consequences to every decision you make. And I don't believe sitting in a jail cell for the rest of your life is going to teach you anything. There's a lot of people that love that lifestyle. There's people that get out and they go right back in same day. People love that lifestyle. They don't have to do nothing. They're taken care of. They get their food, they have clothes on their back, and they have a bed to sleep in. They don't have to work for nothing. Everyone else is working for them. But I'm going to end it there. Just know that child sex trafficking is serious. It's real. And it's a lot bigger than what you think it is. I think it's huge. And it's bigger than what I even think. There's some powerful people running the operation. There's some powerful people involved in it, partaking in it. And we as Americans, if you have kids, hold on to them. Love them. Watch over them. They might get mad about privacy. I don't care. Monitor their every move. It's not even a trust issue with your kids. You can't trust other people. And I'm going to say that from experience. I never thought as a stepfather I would hear that my stepdaughter's biological father, the one male that's supposed to protect them the most, was the one harming them. Sexually, physically, emotionally, with drugs. Hold on to your kids. Tell them you love them. Spend time with them. Know who they talk to. Parents, if you're comfortable with a gun, consider getting it concealed. If you don't want to carry a gun, get pepper spray. Get something. Kids have been grabbed with their parents right next to them all the time. And in this episode, I didn't even go over the whole Wayfair thing. There was a whole Wayfair conspiracy of cabinets that had names of kids that were on the missing children's website, or just kids that were missing. They had the same names. these utility cabinets. And these cabinets, I mean, it's normal, like, 2-door metal cabinet selling for like 12, 13 grand. Big conspiracy came out that they were selling kids with, like, these cabinets. Like, the kids were coming in the cabinets, and it was like the human trafficking, how to hide it. And as soon as it came out, Wayfair took it down. They said the prices were just a mishap or something like that. It's not a coincidence. It's happening. I'm not saying Wayfair was a part of it. I'm not saying Wayfair was selling kids. All I'm saying is that stuff is happening. It's happening. There's no way this is a $30 billion a year operation that's going on subliminally behind closed doors, just out on the street like prostitutes. That's not happening. If that was the case, prostitution would just be just as high of a revenue source of income in the United States. And it's not. This is high-level, secretive stuff. Some people get caught. Some people don't because they use certain means. Me personally, I believe Wayfair was a part of it. I believe they were selling kids. That's just me. I believe that conspiracy. It's not just coincidence. And I believe all this was cover up. The whole coronavirus and George Floyd, Rayshard Brooks thing kind of took the spotlight off Hillary Clinton when she went to court. Which most of y'all probably didn't even know about that. Yeah, Hillary Clinton had to go to court. Over her emails and stuff. Someone subpoenaed her to court. She gave a written testimony. She never gave a oral testimony. So they say, hey, you're coming to federal court to give your oral testimony under oath. They tried to appeal it. She lost the appeal. So guess what? She's testifying in court September 9th. So, yeah, that wasn't on the news. So, yeah, I mean, they're hiding stuff. The media controls what they want you to see. If you're not a conservative, I encourage you to look at conservative news pages because you're going to see stuff that is true that you wouldn't see on CNN or any liberal news sites, and vice versa. Take everything with a grain of salt. We're all Americans. We should all be in this together regardless of your political party. We're America. America has a constitution, and that's what we should all stand for. And if we all did that, the government has no backbone. So I believe we just all need to come together. I believe the biggest thing is we need to fight this child sex trafficking because that is a serious issue. And if you even remotely have just a centimeter of a heart, it should be a big deal to you. For all you families out there, if you're watching this and you've gone through something similar with a sexual abuse or whatever, just know I'm praying for you. There's a lot of support groups out there for you. You're not alone. And you'll get through it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting. Don't ever give up. And pain will never go away, but it will get a little easier. So yeah, that was this episode of the Breaking Point. It's a little longer than I believe than usual. I don't even know how long this has been, but this was kind of a Jonathan Tells All episode. I kind of was just scrolling through Facebook, seen something. I'm like, you know what? I haven't recorded in a while. I'm about to just let it all out. There's a lot of crazy stuff, and I believe everyone's seen it. I hope so. I hope everyone's either been seeing it or they're opening their eyes to start seeing it now. Because if we don't take back our country, if you say, oh, we're still America, we're still free, you know, I can still go to the movies, I can still go bowling. Yeah, just wait. That's what Venezuela said not too long ago, and now they are pretty much a communistic country. So hold on to your guns. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to your freedoms. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear one. The government has no right to tell you what you have to wear. And I stand by that. It's been mandated that I wear a mask. I've refused to wear a mask, and I will not wear a mask. If they want me to pay the $250 fine, they better start writing them. And I say that unapologetically. Because any law that is unconstitutional is null and void. So, there's that. So, yeah. That's this episode of The Breaking Point. Hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of hostile, kind of unapologetic, kind of emotional. Something a little different. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Please, if you see this and you watch it and enjoy anything of it, enjoy a piece of it. Download a video editor, clip out the piece you want, and share it. Do what you want to do. Please share. Please, 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 please share it. It helps me get my name out there. Helps this message get across. If you agree with me and you like the message I'm giving, please share it. Even if you don't agree with me, please share it. You probably won't, but it's cool. You should share it anyway. Make it like a gag gift for your friends, Be like, hey, this guy's smart. Share it to your friends. They're going to hate it, and they're going to share it to other people, and they're going to hate it. But it's cool because I'm getting my name out there. But now, as Americans, I just want to say, as a brother in Christ, I love y'all. Hope y'all are safe. Stay safe. Keep an eye on your kids. Don't buy into the government bullcrap and the political bias that's going around. Just keep your head on a swivel. Watch each other's back. I love y'all. If you see this, find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Parler. Parler's the newest one. Parler is a nonpartisan, or bipartisan, I guess you could say, non-bias social media platform. It's pretty much just a better version of Twitter. You can find me on there. All those platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Parler, Twitter. @ Breaking Point. You see it right here above my head. That's how it's spelled. Breaking Point. You'll find me. If you see this video, please share it. It's going to be posted everywhere. I love y'all. Take care. Be safe. And I'll talk to y'all next time.